Welcome back, Tyrants. The break is over and we are back with One Piece chapter 998, which was a fantastic chapter. So much to talk about here. And it honestly, it felt really short. It felt like this one just rushed by, just with how much like double page spreads there were, and kind of just how the story itself was kind of paneled. It felt really fast, and it wasn't even a heavy action chapter. There was a lot of dialogue, but it still felt like, I read this in like 5 minutes and I was just like, wait, I need more. This can't be it. I have to have more than this. But let's go ahead and start talking about it. The cover story this week is Enel and the cat chilling out, listening to music, which I love. I love to see Enel anything, so seeing him on the cover page looks really dope. One of the things that this reminds me of is chapter 575, and it's the chapter with the cover story of like Usopp and Sanji, kind of just kicking back, looking up at the moon. And I find it interesting just because like the moon's where Enel's at and that's where they're looking. And I don't think there's any connection between these two cover spreads at all. It reminds me of each other, like the way that they're kind of just relaxing and looking up and just enjoying where they're at. I just had vibes like that. Now we get another look at Onigashima floating, and we see pretty much what we saw last time. We get the flame clouds, we have Onigashima in the sky, and just rubble falling down, and we have the reactions of some of the beast pirates. And the odd thing is that they're mentioning that they didn't know Kaido could do something like this. And my initial question is, well, how did they figure out that this was Kaido? Like, what gave it away that Kaido was lifting up the island with his dragon powers? That seems like either you know he can do that or you don't. So I'm wondering if like someone told them, or like how did they get that information? And they also remarked that Marco the Phoenix is here, and it's in a similar vein as to Jinbei, in which they were like, why is a warlord here? Why is Marco here? Well, he's helping out the Straw Hats. Now, while Jinbei is a part of the Straw Hats, Marco is just here to help. It kind of points back to, I think, that Mihawk said a while ago, in which Luffy has the ability to draw allies, to draw people close to him. And he's doing that again with all the people he's gathered here now. The people that you wouldn't expect to be here now are all here to help Luffy. Marco starts using his flames on Chopper, and initially Zoro and Brook both attack Marco because they think that he's attacking Chopper, which is, it's cool. I like that because to a degree, they should know Marco, or at least know the emblem that he carries on his chest, which is Whitebeard Pirates. So when they see Marco, they know that he is a strong person. So for both of them to just attack like on a blink like that, that's cool. That's loyalty. But of course, Marco's not hurting Chopper. He's helping, and he's using his flames to kind of heat up or at least suppress the virus. Marco even does this on a wide scale called Passive Flame, and he kind of hits everybody with that flame, and it begins to what looks like thaw them out. From the dialogue that we get, it actually sounds like what it's doing is drawing body heat from inside, from within, and using that to kind of heat the person up. So it's not the flames being hot, it's the person themselves being heated up with the flames. Marco also mentions that it's a stamina thing, as in when they run out of stamina, the virus will start taking over again. So all the flames are doing, it seems like they are helping the body do what it needs to do to protect itself. The flames aren't heating up the body itself, they're helping the body to do that. They're giving the body the energy and the stamina it needs to kind of fight off the virus in this particular way. Now, to make a reference to My Hero, this reminds me a lot of Recovery Girl, where she has the ability to amplify and kind of like increase the human body's ability to regenerate and heal. And the basis of that is it requires stamina and life force from the person. So the amount of time and ability that you heal depends on who you are as a person, and like what your life force, your stamina, and all that stuff is. That all compiles into one. And that seems like that's what's happening here. It seems like Marco's flames allow the passive abilities in your body to kind of heighten. So his flames, they don't heal you. It's more of they amp up the body and give the body the ability to heal itself in a higher fashion. Which explains why, one, Marco's flames can't, he mentions before that they can't do everything. They're not miracles. They can't completely fix people, but they can help. And it explains why he said when they run out of stamina, they won't work anymore. It it depends heavily on the person that they're used on. It depends on the stamina and life force that that person has left, they're able to use. With that being said, it makes me really wonder about Marco's combat ability, because it seems like a lot of his fruit is passive. He can fly, he can heal, but is there a lot combat wise, or is it just the raw strength that he has as a person that he uses for combat? Is that all he has? If so, that's pretty amazing, because if he can fight on par with some Yonko commanders, you know, some right hand Yonko commanders, and it's all like combat prowess and nothing really attributing to his devil fruit, I think that's huge. But moving on, we get the return of Apu, who of course we all knew wasn't knocked out for the long haul here. You know, he got one shot, but we knew he'd be back up. And he is. And he's gunning for the antidote because he knows that he's going to get killed if he doesn't get it back. Now, the thing is, I think Apu already lost his chance. I think no matter what, Apu's done with Kaido and the Beast Pirates, whether he wants to be or not. He already lost the antibody. Queen was already trying to get rid of him, so there's no going back for that. So I'm not entirely sure why he's still trying. Maybe he's in denial that he's kind of not gonna get wiped out, but we'll see. Anyway, as he's trying to get the antidote back, Drake stops him. And this is the beginning of the reveal of all the ancient zone forms. We start with Drake, who we already knew, so that makes sense that we get shown that one first. But just to start off, like the Flying Six and each of their abilities. Drake tells Zoro to keep moving, and what I think is going to happen is what a lot of people predicted last time, is that Marco's going to end up flying the rest of the Straw Hats up, and each floor is going to depend on who they fight. Like I said, I think Robin is going to end up stopping with Black Maria. I think Brook might stay there as well, and Zoro will go straight to the top. That's what I'm guessing. And then Marco himself is going to be tying up with King. Now, before we get deep into the next reveals of the chapters, which is pretty much all the fruits, something came to mind that I want to kind of talk about. And it's that when I first read this chapter and I was reading through everything, I had a lot of moments where like, oh yeah, I called that. Or like, oh yeah, we knew that was going to happen. Oh yeah, we predicted that. We nailed it. And the more I read it, and I read it like 2 or 3 more times after that, and I realized that, well, yeah, I'd give us some credit for being able to call that. I honestly would rather say that Oda set up these points to make sense for us rather than us predicting them out of nowhere. I mean, naturally, we pick up on things that Oda leaves behind all the time, and I think he set it up so well this time that we were able to nail a lot of these fruits. The detail and like the subtle background kind of events and images that we get whenever we talk with one of like the Tobiropo, it just gives us more info on who they could be. You know, we had the idea of who they could be based on what we saw from the story. There was no other indication other than just the little tidbits that we got, which is really, really cool, because Oda's kind of like, he's planting these hints here and there that ultimately could be subverted. You know, he could have made these fruits completely opposite of what he expected. And it's interesting that, because normally he likes to do that, he likes to go against the grain. But I really like how he set up this chapter with the previous chapters. And I really like how he did it without explicitly telling us. You know, there's no indication, no dialogue, no language in the chapters that tell us what these fruits are going to be. It's all context clues. It's all us reading into the chapter beyond what's being said and kind of gathering that information. And that's such a cool thing. And I love to see it come to full fruition, and that's what this chapter does. So first, let's talk about Sasaki being a Triceratops, which makes sense because you have like the armored core, and we kind of get the theme of he was going to be a dinosaur with heavy armor. He was going to be a sturdy dinosaur rather than a aggressive, you know, like a T-Rex or something like that. And that's what we end up being. So it looks like we are going to get the Frankie versus Sasaki fight. It looks like this will be that matchup because he went full form. So I think he was saving that for his actual fight, and it looks like this is going to be the one. Now I am somewhat upset just because we didn't see more of his sword. I really want to see what that sword is and why it looks so unique, why we got that panel of it. But I do like seeing his fruit. I love the design. I love that he still has his hat on. I really like that. The design's fantastic. Love it. I really want to see what this fight turns out to be. And then we're on to Black Maria, and she's a spider. Now, The weird thing about Black Maria's fruit, and the thing I don't quite understand, is that it seems like she has a face on her spider body. The weird thing about this is that, because I'm pretty sure that it's her upper half on the top of this spider, and the lower half is kind of like the transformation, but it looks more like a smile than it does an actual devil fruit. And I say that for a few reasons. The main reason is because the dual faces. What we've seen from the smiles is that they don't combine with the user. It's two entities on one body. So you have the gorilla, who's like, there's an actual gorilla with the person who ate the fruit combined together. And that's what this looks like. It looks like there's an actual spider with Black Maria combined together, rather than Maria transforming into a giant spider. So that strikes me as interesting. It doesn't say that she's using a smile fruit, and it seems to be a full-fledged ancient zone, but the design is very interesting. I'm not entirely sure what to read about this one. Also, her upper half is completely unchanged, so I can't tell if this is like a hybrid form, if this is a full form. Is this like, what kind of form is this? Black Maria's entire change is really interesting. I'm not entirely sure how that works. And to another point, the model of spider that she is a prehistoric model of spider. It's not a common one like the Black Widow or anything that we were guessing. It's an ancient, extinct model of spider. So that's a cool little history fact. Like I said earlier, I think with this situation, because Sanji is not getting out of this by himself, obviously he's being Sanji, so we're probably gonna have Robin and Brook step in. That's my best guess. Next we have Who's Who, and he is stopping Jinbei just like I expected. And Jinbei let Luffy go ahead so he could stay back and hold up this fight. Now, I think this is probably my favorite reveal, just because I like the way Who's Who is set up. I like the way him and his entire group just look. Like, from his fruit, his design, he also has his helmet still on, so you can only see like half of his face. And he's just perched up, he's just relaxing. Then he has all of his cat-themed crew with him just lined up around. And they all look cool. I like all their designs. Who's Who's is definitely my favorite of the reveals so far. I like that entire panel. It just looks fantastic. And we also get some kind of indication that Who's Who has at least maybe met or seen Jinbei before, back when he was a predominant warlord. Now, if we think about that, that's a time pre-Marineford War. So that's a long time ago. And that's not including like the time from when he accepted the role back in like the Fisher Tiger flashback to Marineford. So there's a large portion of time in which they could have run into each other. And Jinbei mentions that if you remove your helmet, I might be able to see who you are. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a helmet reveal somewhere in this. I know a lot of people have been trying to predict Who's Who's real identity, and it'd be interesting to see who he is. I don't know, because I don't think he's someone that we have met before, just because of the crew he has surrounding him. It was mentioned before that the Flying Six were originally captains of their own crews, or at least some of them were captains of their own crews before they were brought into Kaido. So if everyone around him is a cat themed, I can't imagine we have a character in the past that we've noticed that has like a huge cat thing like this. The only one is Kuro, but I think this is obviously not Kuro. There's no real connection to Kuro whatsoever. Other than that, I can't really think of any cat-themed people we've met before that would have connection to Jinbei. So I think this might be a new person, but a person that Jinbei knows nonetheless. We then get, as an ending, Page One Ulti, who we've seen before as well. And that's cool because we have like the beginning and the end with the characters that we've seen before. We have the beginning with Drake and the end with Ulti and Page One. But we still get to see every single Tobiropo and all of their forms. So it's kind of just a cool cover of everything we've seen so far, plus the new stuff. And we see that Ulti is still gun for Nami, so I'm wondering how that's going to work out. She really seems to have a bone to pick with Nami in particular. So I would like to see some kind of, round two or anything of that nature with Nami and Ulti. As for the end of the chapter, we get the reveal that apparently Ace made an attempt on Kaido's life. Now, clearly it failed, and I don't think we would expect any less for it to fail because it's Kaido. But there's something really interesting about the statue that Ace broke. So when I look at this statue, the first thing I think about is that it looks like Kaido. It looks like Kaido's dragon form. Now, either this statue was made to look like Kaido, or this statue was made to look like dragons. If it was made to look like dragons, that would indicate that there are more dragons. Perhaps there's a race of dragons, more dragons that existed. You know, we know dragons existed at some point, but there's something about the fact that it looks very similar to Kaido that sticks out to me. What also sticks out to me is that Yamato says that it was broken by Ace, but when I look at it, it looks a lot like Ace punched it in the face with fire. Because the way it's kind of like sculpted, it looks like it's melted in a certain direction. Kind of like Ace ran up to it and just punched it. And honestly, I wonder why. I don't understand why that would happen unless like it was something funny as if like maybe Ace thought that that was Kaido and he ran up and punched it thinking he was fighting Kaido, but it was just a statue. There could be something deeper. There could be no meaning to it. But I think there's a lot of context from that panel and from what we're seeing that leans towards there's some story behind that. There's a reason behind that. But I love that we're getting more Ace lore in Wano. I really want to see what happened in between him and Kaido. And honestly, I wonder if this has anything to do with why Kaido was heading to Marineford. I wonder if we're getting more story on that. I would love to see that. And so we end on that cliffhanger, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in 999. I think things are really stacking up. You know, each chapter that we've been getting pre-1000 has been such a fantastic piece of, whether it's like story building or just action or both. Like, we've just been getting some really good chapters. So I'm excited for 909. I'm absolutely excited for 1000. And I want to hear how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.